Hello, Nicholas.
Hello, Sergeant.
We're making you Sergeant.
I see. Do I have any choice in this?
No.
I'd like to talk to the inspector.
You...
Hello, Nicholas. Nicholas, we're offering you a smashing position.
I don't really know what to say.
Yes?
Yes, thank you.
No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to,
You want to take this higher? You want me to bother the Chief Inspector with this?
Yes.
Now, I know what you're going to say, but the fact is, you've been making us all look bad.
With respect, sir, you can't just make people disappear.
Yes, I can. I'm the Chief Inspector.
Well, however you spin this, there's one thing you haven't taken into account. And that's what the team is gonna make of this.
You're listening to Duck Dust FM. Oh, so remember a few weeks ago when I said I'd rather have a Bo-Katan show than the stunt Mandalorian and its celebrity GPS voice Pedro Pascal dicking around with dragons and diversity all season? Shit, I would have gladly watched her in her own show more than half the bullshit coming out of Lucasfilm nowadays. Well, this week that hopeful nightmare finally once and for all came to fruition as Bo-Katan moved from respected cameo to insert star of the show, aided by Lucasfilm just flat out saying it during Celebration. And if that wasn't enough to convince you, the season's penultimate episode, where almost thousands of people worldwide were on the edge of their seats waiting for something to finally happen, unquestionably cemented whose show this really was. The episode begins in a completely original idea and planet. No, I'm just kidding, it's Blade Runner. And Elias Deckard FaceTimes Moff Gideon, fulfilling contractual obligations to appear in at least 2 episodes. And he's told the Mandalorians want their planet back, just like fans want their Star Wars back, and like the evil leader in charge of Star Wars right now, she goes and whines to the board about it. I'm sorry, I mean the Super Secret Shadow Spooky Council.
The International Justice League of Super Acquaintances, a subsidiary of Viacom.
And in this corporate bitch fest, we're dealt another death blow to the erroneous rumors that the sequel trilogy was going to be erased, as Commander Cux chews him out for not being loyal to Thrawn. And Gideon asks where the fuck he is, and do we have to wait for Ahsoka just to see him and start his story?
Yes.
And he does a little twirl and says, "Long live the Empire." Yeah, not at that rate. Back on planet generic almost Italy, Apollo Creed is explaining to dumbass C-3PO that because Moff Gideon's light cruiser has a giant fucking Mandalorian logo on it, it must not be Imperial.
He's got alien tattoos all over.
No shit!
A scene with deep importance, obviously. Bo-Katan and their sidekicks meet up with the other Mandalorians from Comic-Con, while Greef Karga gives Mando some space tequila and a special surprise. What, you might ask? A metaphor droid in the form of IG-11's hollowed-out Weekend at Bernie's body, where now Georgia can drive like a fucking Hulkbuster that still uses the Taika Waititi voice to say yes or no. I think you can decipher how that element played out.
Yes. 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 Yes.
We know Star Wars is meant to be written for 12-year-olds, but it was never really supposed to be written by 12-year-olds. The metaphor here, though, is the hollowed-out useful thing that was blown to shit years ago, whose zombified corpse is now being piloted by a toy that doesn't know when to shut up or stop, among other ones for Taika Waititi's career. Grogu's edible kicks in, he gets the munchies, and uses the thing to steal a bunch of fruit in a scene that also drags on for minutes. Bo-Katan gives a speech about taking back Mandalore and sending a scout party, to which every single Mandalorian, at least the ones that we know, says, "Okay, I'll go." Way to divide and conquer there. They go to Mandalore, but the shooting script accidentally said Camino, and it's too late to change it. And they come across a few Cuckdalorians, who she proceeds to tell how she was cucked herself for the Darksaber. And then Mando, never one to back down from a cuckfest, cucks himself and says he likes people with character, despite him not having any now. So the one character who isn't cucked, Chad Woves, fights Paz Vizsla, and who breaks up this heated battle between clashing factions of Mandalorians, also known as something actually interesting that's happening.
No. No. No.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
This has to be intentional at this point. I mean, seriously, I know Disney is allergic to having any real moment without undercutting it seconds later, but don't you think it would have been a little better if it ended literally any other way?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Then a giant fucking mythosaur pops out and destroys the boat, and they have to retreat into Carlsbad Caverns, where they're attacked by Mandalorian Dark Troopers and Moff Gideon, who now has Beskar and an old Mandalorian helmet. Okay, interesting. Go on. And he explains that he needs the Beskar for his Dark Troopers, yada yada, and they have an epileptic fight, keeping Mando alive for some reason, until Paz Vizsla decides he can't take being on this show anymore and sacrifices himself. But not before one final "this is the way" before he's killed by the sequel trilogy tie-ins. And that's it. One episode remaining, and we still don't really know exactly what the point of all this was. Okay, they want to take back Mandalore with the Mandalorians. Why have we spent around the length of one episode, all told, actually doing that, and the rest of the time watching baby Hasbro trip on his own feet, only to become Stephen fucking Hawking when the plot needs him to be?
Let me die.
Once again, at the bare bottom level, there's actually something there, but they can't for the life of them actually utilize it for more than a few fleeting seconds before we get a hefty serving of AI dialogue and hollow, poorly directed action scenes. I'll offer a bit of constructive criticism here instead of just shitting on the show, which I could do for hours. If you have something like Moff Gideon having the Mandalorian helmet, flesh that out, because it's way more interesting than what's happening now. We don't know much about him pre-Empire. Was he a Mandalorian who joined the Empire after the Siege of Mandalore? Or kill a Mandalorian? Maybe a little live-action Siege of Mandalore flashback with bearable CGI would fix this problem. It's literally as simple as that if they're going to introduce an element like this. But we'll probably have those dragons fuck with Grogu for the next half episode.
Yes. Yes.
How does this show make you not enjoy watching Katie Sackhoff? It's taken one of the best side characters from a majority pre-Disney show and lifted her to a mantle where they don't really know what to do with her other than make her a girl boss instead of the deeply flawed, conflicted, and interesting character she was in Clone Wars.
Little skinny, isn't she?
Nice.
Though this episode did at least have somewhat of an attempt at that. 5 out of 10. I suppose 53 minutes of the Lucasfilm logo would have been an improvement from last week, but I'll take anything of slight interest despite knowing it'll lead nowhere. Until next season! Look, this finale better make Breaking Bad's look like Game of Thrones, or else my illegal Disney Plus subscription is getting cancelled even faster. Nothing matters anymore, so you might as well give us that cyborg Mace Windu. At least that'd look cool. But is that something Lucasfilm would really have to resort to for dumb hype just to trend on Twitter?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Oh, fuck me. Fucking like and subscribe for duck's sake.
The Duke. Duck, I said.